whiteboard, but I'm going to give you a second to write it down. 8x squared minus 2x plus 19. Got to clear my throat. Vodka clears the throat a little bit. So I'm going to take my handy dandy 8x squared minus 2x plus 19. 8x squared minus 2x plus 19. Eight x squared minus 2x plus 19. Is that correct?
Right.
Technically, if you want to get the x-intercepts, you plug in 0 for y. And I won't turn it around. And then start the process. Factor out of 8. What's 2 over 8?
1/4.
1/4. Good job. What's the rule about factoring out a number on completing a square?
You have to multiply it on the opposite side.
There you go. You're the one that listened. I knew it was one person. Oh, what was the name of that book? I need somebody want to know the name of that book. What's the name
That
of it?
you read?
Yeah.
Above the Waterfall?
Above the Waterfall. Thank you.
Oh, I'm reading that.
Above the Waterfall.
What is that? This is my English 102.
Above the Waterfall.
That's pretty good.
Give me that.
You can never expect to have fun in an English class.
Well, like so far, it's setting up the story. I mean, I just finished part 1.
Does the actual teacher know that I'm in the book?
Teacher don't know. I don't know.
You're in the book?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm in all of his books.
Oh, really? I haven't got to it yet.
From here start.
All right, so 1/4
North Carolina.
Yeah, his teacher. Yeah.
divided by 2 over 1 and squared is equal to 1/4 multiplied by 1/2 and squared, and that's 1/8 multiplied by itself. You might want to put 1 times 1 in your calculator.
1 to the 10th power.
It says 1. Why does it say that?
Okay, so 1 over 64. So I got a gold tooth, nice hair, and I cuss at people. That's my claim to fame in this book.
It's pretty close to it.
I'd rather beat up hippies.
I'm about to try to read so I find that now.
That's what I did in St. Pacific River.
The black.
I think it's became
I was like, I'm reading on a Kindle, so it's not crazy.
All right. So what shortcut is that on the left? Shortcut number 2.
Dude,
That's going to give you x minus 1 over 8 quantity squared is equal to, well, the 8 will take that 64 out. And 19 times 8, it's going to be what? 152? 152?
152.
Okay, so that's negative 152 over 8 plus 1 over 8. Somebody help me out there, is that right?
Yep.
Which doesn't make any difference because that means we have no x-intercepts because this is a positive and it's not going to help us. So x minus 1/8 quantity squared is equal to negative 151 over 8. So here is our y-intercept. There's our y-intercept. Our vertex is 1/8, comma, 151 over 8 let's go ahead and write this in intercept notation. F of x is equal to 8 times x minus 1/8 quantity squared plus 151 over 8. And let's just put that in a little cloud because that may be asked of you on a test or a homework in intercept form or standard form. Now we're going to keep going and find. The only thing we need now is our x what? X-intercepts. But we know that the x-intercepts do not exist. Why?
There's
There's a negative number.
Because of the negative. You can't take the square root of a negative. So we got to put it in terms of I. And I'm going to put right over here in magenta. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to circle this right here and I'm going to say no x-intercept, but put the answer in terms of I. So we're going to finish the problem by putting it in terms of I. So 8 times x minus 1/8, I'm just rewriting it, is equal to negative 151 over 8. I'm going to divide by 8 over 1, which means I'm going to multiply by what? So it would be x minus 1/8 quantity squared is equal to negative 151 over 64. Take the square root of both sides, and that's going to be x minus 1/8 is equal to square root of negative 1 is I, times the square root of 151 over 8. And then that's going to give us x is equal to I times the square root of 151 plus 1 over 8. And there's several ways you can write that. Let's go ahead and find the square root of 151. The square root of 144 is what?
12.
The square root of 169 is what?
13.
13, so this is 12.5. Okay, and 144 to 169 is what? Dang old 43? Or 45? Is it 45? No, 25. 25?
25.
25. Half of 25 is 12, so that'd be 156. So square root of 156 is equal to 12.5. This is 12.25. And 44 to 56 is what? 16? Half of 12. Half of 12 is 6. That'll be 150 is 12.25. We want 151, so I'm going to say it's 12.3. Somebody check me.
12.29, yep.
And that's going to be I, 12.3I plus 1 over 8. And you put a positive or negative right here because you took it out of the radical. So you can have this answer, you can have this answer, or whatever. Now I want you to sketch the graph, and I want you to make sure you do the domain, range, increasing and decreasing values. So sketch the graph, because you got 2 points to sketch it with. $19 is going to be way up here. And 1/8 is going to be right beside the y-axis. How many times will 8? 8 will go into 15. 1 time, that'll be 71. 9 times, 19. A little below 19. 18 point something. Looks like that. Go ahead and take the calculator, get the calculator drill team, take the calculator and graph it, and see if it looks like that. We know the domain because of the square. Since it's a square, what's the domain? All what?
Real numbers.
All real numbers. The range is going to be from your vertex y, 151 over 8, to infinity. In decreasing, it's going to be from negative infinity to 1/8. And increasing from 1/8 to what? Infinity.
Infinity.
Line of symmetry always goes through the x of the vertex. So the line of symmetry is x is equal to, I hate this. I got to get training. Maybe, no, that's for posters. We don't need training on these. No, we don't want to. See, we've yet to have training on these things right here. But when we go to faculty staff work day and spend the whole day at Pendleton campus, do we go over this? No, we go over posters. No, we hadn't had training on this. We had these things for 2 years. All right, who has a question on that one? Now, let's see what the question is going to ask, because I have no idea what the question's asking. Y'all, I hope y'all got all that written down, because I'm not going to try to go back and forth. Let's see what the question's asking. Describe the end behavior. Well, let me go over the end behavior for you right quick. And you need... What the heck happened to my question?
Russians.
Russians.
Russians. The Russians.
All about the Russians.
I got Liam Neeson, the racist.
Oh, man.
You go stop black people.
Find this question again. I hope this is it.
What? Talking black people in the streets.
That's not it, is it?
Not just real black. Like racist friend who's going after them. They're white.
Second one.
Liberal media.
I'm going to lose it.
That one.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Appreciate it 15 minutes later. Okay, end behavior. End behavior is anything with a x to the even power. The end behavior is always going to be like a what? Parabola. X to the odd power will always look like what? Will always look like that. So, ending behavior, and you need to do that for all your, and that's what the family of graphs really does. When I do that family of graphs, you should be familiar enough with the family of graphs that you know what a function is going to do before you even graph it. Okay? So, those are the two most popular end behaviors. What's going to happen with this function? Well, it's going to look like a parabola. Okay? Now, the questions that they ask are like a Philadelphia lawyer. Sometimes these questions that they ask are really useless. What they should do is they should give you 2 or 3 choices that look like this and put A, B, C, or D, and you click and pick on A, B, C, or D. Not the output values of n increase without bound. Okay? As x increases without bound. To me, that makes no sense. All right? The output values increase without bound. Does it not say the same thing?
No, one's it decreases, one's increases.
The second one.
Oh, I see. Okay. So that's what, write the limit notation for the end behavior. Well, what is the arrows mean on these two? What does that mean? Infinity and infinity. X infinity and Y infinity. So, as long as you got arrows, write the equations for any horizontal asymptotes. Well, remember, horizontal asymptotes, you set the denominator equal to what? You set the denominator equal to 0 or the radicand. When is the domain affected? Whenever you have a radical or a what? A fraction. Is this one a radical or a fraction? No. So is it going to have any vertical asymptotes or horizontal asymptotes? No.
Hubert, what about part A?
That's the part I just said was confusing to me, much less y'all. Okay? The output values. What's another word for output values? X or Y?
Range, the Y.
X or Y?
Y.
Y. So the Y values of n, okay, of the function, what we're doing is we're writing this in terms that y'all can understand, not in pinky terms. So rewrite these questions in regular terms, redneck terms. Function, as x increases without bound and as x increases without bound. So as x goes this way, well, as x increases, I'm sorry, and as x what? Decreases. So what's happening to y? Here's your function. As x increases this way, what's happening to your y?
Increasing.
Okay, as x goes this way, what's happening?
Same again.
It's what?
No, it's decreasing.
It's increasing. As x what? Decreases, what's happening to y?
Decreases.
As x increases, what's happening to y?
Increase.
Does that make sense, Ms. Shuttleworth?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Sorry.
It doesn't matter. I'm confident. I don't worry about it. Anyway, the whole point is take out the pinky words and put in the words that you know. And this book is all about pinky words. So you feel good about yourself now, Miss Shuttleworth?
I do. I figured out most of those by now. There are just a couple that I still haven't figured out.
Good. Well, we're done with these, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go to your next question that I accidentally pulled up. That's the first one up here. That one. This one says, if you recommend a dosage for blah, 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 D is in milligrams. Recommended dosage. Determine the appropriate dosage for a pharmacist, blah, blah. Supposed dosage. Looks like to me you're just going to plug in what?
Sure.
You're going to plug that 500 in for D, and then that you're going to distribute it. So let's do that. This is a pretty good test question. Why is it a good test question? Because it takes your knowledge from algebra and it applies it. So this is just like a algebra problem. C is equal to 0.0417 D times x plus 1. Now, why am I putting that x plus 1 in there? Because when you get finished with the x, and forget that a, when you put an x in there, the next step you're going to see y is equal to mx plus b. And m is your slope. So C is equal to 0.0417 times what? 500? Times x plus 1. Okay, somebody crank that out for me. What is C equal to? I know it's got the answer over here, but I want you to 0.04, that's 5% of 500. 10% of 500 is what? 10% of 500 is 50, Hubert. Then 5% would be 25. 1% would be 2.5. 2.5 times 4 is going to give you close to 18 to 20. What is it? I can't hear you. That was
20.85.
That's better. 20.85. Have you ever come to my office and do this?
I think so.
The third time you do this, I'm going to say, okay, if you knock on the door like you want to come in, I'll answer you. And then you go. Same thing with answering a question in my class. I do not accept. Enunciate in volume, please. All right, so 20.85, so that's that. So I distribute that 20.85, and I get C is equal to, I'm going to take that C out because we used to Y. And this is what you do in your head. You don't replace it. Just do it in your head. Just say Y is equal to 20.85x plus what? 20.85. So this is your slope, and this is your Y what?
Intercept.
Your Y intercept. Another good example of looking at a problem. Do you know how to do it? Yes. Do you know how to do it the way they got it written? No. And the y-intercept is that right there because that's the y-intercept. Because a newborn, how old is a newborn? Dang old 0 days old.
Dang.
Dang old, he would. Dang old, dang old, take his left hand, man, dang old, put it down there. Speed it the hell up.
Dang old.
Oh my Lord, Miss Shuttleworth. In 1960, this looks familiar. In 1960, the birth rate for women aged 15 to 19 was 60 births per 1,000 women. In 2006, the birth rate for women was 41.9. Calculate the rate of change. Okay, this is pretty simple. First thing you do is draw what? Draw a picture. Because you know how to do this, because you did it in pre-algebra like 5,000 times. All right, in 1960, and we'll just call that 0, okay? All right, at 1960, it was what? 59 point, and I'm going to put what? Let's say this is 40, and this is 50. And this is blah, 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 10, 15, 20, whatever. Okay? At 60, at 9, right up here. Okay? And then at 2006, it was what? 41.9. Dang old vegetarians. Dang old, didn't have any weight on them. Okay? So what is that? That is a line. How do you find the slope of a line? What is the rate of change? It's a 25-cent word for what?
Slope.
Slope. Now, they should give you something to the effect, okay, they don't say, okay, so I guess you just use 1960 and 2006. It doesn't say anything about numbers since 1960, does it? Does it say anything like number of years since 1960? Doesn't. I think it does. So you're going to use so this point right here is 1960, comma what? 59.9. What's this point? 2006, comma what? 41.9. How do you find the slope?
Y sub 2 minus Y sub 1, or X sub 2 minus X sub 1.
Delta Y over delta X, right? So what you just said. So the slope is equal to delta Y over delta x, which is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1.
Yes.
Which way do we read?
Left,
So this
right.
is x
Unless
sub 1,
it's
this is
Billy.
y sub
That's
1,
out.
this is x sub 2, this is what?
That's gonna
Y
hurt
sub
me.
2. Okay, what's going on? What are y'all talking about?
You said left to right, and then I said unless you're from the Middle East. And I said
Masalama.
Yeah,
Masalama.
Masalama.
Go with you. All right, 41.9 minus 59.9 over 2006 minus 1960. Now, a lot of people say, well, Hubert, that'll give us a negative slope. Well, if you put your car on the left-hand side, what's that car doing? It's going to go downhill. Downhill's a negative slope. All right, figure that, somebody. What's 41.9 minus 59.9? Dang old 18? Over 46? Huh?
Yes, sir.
And somebody crank that out. Tell me what you get. Lord, it's a miracle. What movie did that come from?
Sure.
Lord, it's a miracle. Man up in fighting, it's just like a fart in the wind. Does y'all's parents let y'all watch any movies? I mean, do y'all watch any movies that are not animated? Shawshank what? Shawshank Redemption. Yes.
Shawshank?
Warden. He walks into the jail cell and Lord, it's a miracle. All right, what's the next one say? Write the function or the model that gives the birth rate per 1,000 women age 15 to 19, where X is the number of years since 1960,
Is any upcoming movies?
from 0 to 46.
Something.
I see.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out. You did the right answer. What's wrong with the answer? I mean, you did the right answer, Miss.
There isn't. This is one of the problems that I've figured out by now, but you know.
But they just wrote it. You wrote it the correct way. I don't know what part of the country they're from. I would never write. You got the right answer.
Oh
Did you
yeah, you
not?
can write it. You can write it like that, and they'll still give it to you.
Okay.
Like they write it backwards
Okay.
in it.
All right. Estimate the birth rate for the age in 2009. So that means you got to plug in what?
Again, shoot.
You got to plug in how many numbers? How many is it since 1960? That'd be 49.
Mhm.
So somebody plug 49 in for X into that formula right there in B and see what you get. 49 times negative 0.391 plus 59.9. What do you get? You should get 40.741. That's a test question. I mean, it's not a big deal. All of you know how to do it, but when you look at it, you probably go, what the heck are we supposed to do? Always draw a picture if you can. That usually helps you tremendously. Capiche?
Yep.
Yep. I don't know why I keep hitting that. All right, got another one down here. This is 1.1. Okay, this is just, isn't this the calculator drill?
Yes, sir. I believe
Okay.
most of these I sent like a week ago.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine. But we have went over this, correct? You
Yes,
plug
sir, I
and
think
chug,
so.
calculate, or you can use it on your what you call it? Another quadratic. Now, this quadratic right here, this is a test question. I don't give you a lot of them, but somebody tell me what this is used for. You use quadratic formula or your calculator. because I would never ask you to do complete the square with this, because I wouldn't ask you to try to take a nail out of a piece of lumber with a screwdriver. Okay? What the heck is he talking about? The quadratic formula is used for certain things. The calculator is used for certain things. If those two cannot be used, then you use complete the square. Okay? And if you have a rinky-dink Mickey Mouse problem, then you go back to your factoring, reverse FOIL. Okay? But most of your problems in business are going to be either done with the calculator, Excel, or quadratic formula, because it's going to be in terms of what? What are those numbers up there?
Get street credit.
They're not whole numbers, they're decimals. Write this down. Decimals, quadratic formula, calculator, or Excel. And you're going to be using those in real world situations a lot. What do you use? Are you going to use a calculator, or are you going to use Excel? Because nobody's going to walk up to you in a business office and say, Mr. Poor, would you crank this through the quadratic formula and tell me where? No. You're going to put it on Excel, or you're going to put it on a calculator in the real world. And the calculator is usually not there. So most of the time you're going to be using computers to do this. Okay, and that's what this is asking. So is this a test question? Yes. But it is also a calculator question. Calculator drill team. Capiche?
Yep, capiche.
Same thing there.
Emails.
Ishka.
I'm looking to see if there's anything else on here. That's
That
went
one
over
right
one like
there, I was
this.
having a hard time on.
Say again?
That one right there is one that I'm still having trouble with.
A jam.
You decide to purchase a car for $18,750. You have a 20%.
How about
You have
that?
20% of the purchase price to use as down payment, and the purchase will be financed at 10% interest. The accompanying graph shows the monthly loan payment in terms of months over which the loan is financed. What is the actual amount being financed? Well, what's 20% of 18,750? Be 1875, right? So somebody take 18,750 and subtract 1875. That should equal, I don't know what it's going to equal.
16,275.
Well, that don't, 20%, I'm sorry, not 10%, 20%. I'm sorry, I thought it said 10%. 1875 times 2 is 3750, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so 3750 is 20%, because 10% is 1875. So I just multiplied both of these by 2. I multiplied 10 by 2 to get 20, and I multiplied this by 2 to get 3750. Now 18,750 minus 3750, that's the down payment. That's equal to 15,000. So that's what the bank is going to have to finance, or whoever. Okay, so that's how you get that one. You can use the Walmart equation. You could use that and say the total minus, I'm sorry, not the total. The original minus percentage original is equal to the total. Or the Walmart equation is X plus or minus percentage X is equal to the total. And in this case, you're subtracting the down payment from it. So that would be 18,750 minus 0.2 times 18,750 is equal to, and that would give you the 15,000. So either way, if you do it in parts or if you do it with the Walmart equation. All right, estimate your monthly payment if you finance over 72 months. Well, it sounds like to me that they're giving you the, they got to give you a formula. They didn't give you the formula here. and it's A is equal to PRT. They didn't give you the formula for this, so I don't know how you could do it. Oh, I guess you read the chart. They didn't give you the formula. So estimate the payments at 72 months. So you take your handy dandy straight edge, take your handy dandy virtual straight edge, and you draw a line there. And then about there. Of course, it's not going to be exact. I don't see how you, I don't know how
I
you're
tried
going to
to
do that.
Google the formula because I figured there might be one that I just didn't know of, but I couldn't find anything
Now,
that
the
gave me-
amortization formula is not even introduced in this book. So this is a dumb question. Okay, it's a dumb question as far as first of all, they don't give you any way to explanation. You have to have the formula. The graph is not detailed enough, it's not graduated enough for you to actually, I don't know how you got 108,000. Are you high or something? Miss Shuttleworth, were you high that night when you were doing homework?
No.
Hey, gum, 108,000. Miss Shuttleworth's gonna
Like I said, I was trying like all these different equations for trying
Miss
to
Shuttleworth,
find,
Miss Shuttleworth,
statement.
don't make too much money because AOC will take 70% of it. So make sure when you get out in the real world, you don't make a lot of money because she'll take 70% of that 108,000. Okay, to answer your question,
Hey,
this
she's
is
only taxed with that much,
estimation.
$10 million.
You can't even blow this up to a bigger graph. This is not a good question. I would not give you this on a test. If I did give it to you on a test, I'd make the daggum graph to where you could blow it up and graduate it. But I'd say any answer between 275 and 300 would be acceptable.
Just like estimate. I wonder if it would take like 275 or something.
Can you type in an estimate answer and see if it takes it?
I can. You'd have to do that on your homework. I don't think I can do that here. I can try it. No. Remember, I'm working with the sundial here. My Lab Plus is a Rolex. I'm working with the sundial. Estimate the number of months you will have to pay on the loan if you can only afford to pay $1,200 a month. Well, $1,200, take your handy dandy straight line. $1,200. And I'm going to draw a horizontal line and then I'm going to move it. I'm going to try to get it about horizontal. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to move it. Really? There we go. 1,200 is right there. So now I'm going to take a vertical line and I'm going to move it. I should have a poster showing you this, shouldn't I? That's why y'all can't understand it. I'd say 12. See, even mine says 12. Well, no, it don't, right there.
Kind of crooked.
13 months. Do the best, on this problem, do the best you can, okay?
Okay, I mean, it gives you the answer, so like right there, so I'll know what it is.
Yeah,
I
the
was just trying to
108,000,
figure
I
out
think
how
you
to
were
do
probably
that.
drinking on that one, but if you decrease the time financed from 72 to 60, all right, 72 to 60, what would your payment increase? And they want you to find the what? The slope. So you're going to have to find 2 points, 72 and 60. Find those two y values and find the slope. That's what they're asking for there. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this one because it's not really a good test question, so I'd rather spend time on test questions. And right now I can't get the dadgum thing to work. Yeah, that's what I think when you do this right here, I think you're going to find the slope. All right, let's go to another question. 1.6, A CD is bought for $2,700 and held 8 years until maturity. What is the future value of the CD at the end of it if it earns interest compounded quarterly? They have to give you the formula here. Okay? Compounded quarterly. Now, I'm going to give you the formula. That's only because I know it. Okay? If I remember it correctly. A is equal to principal. A is equal to P. A is equal to P times 1 plus R over N raised to the NT power. Okay, P is how much you put in. 2,700 would be your principal. 8 years is always T. T is always in what? Years. So what if I tell you 6 months? What would T be? 0.5. T is always in years. Write that down. R is your rate, which is 0.07. And compounded quarterly, what's quarterly? N is equal to 4. That's 4 times a year. Okay, what's semi-annually? Twice, so that would be N is equal to 2. What is daily? N would be what? 365. No coughing in class. You need to lay off those Marlboro Reds.
Yes,
Terrible. No. Every time you laugh, you sound like you're coughing up a lung.
There's a guy. Yes,
Device plates? Is it still black? Or cigarette?
So, punch those in.
Yeah, sure.
A is equal to 2,700 times 1 plus R is 0.07 over 4 raised to the N, which is 4 times 8, which is blah, blah, blah.
32.
A equals 2,700. You should be able to do this in your calculator without even writing anything down. You work inside out. Take 0.0 divided by 4. Somebody get that and then add 1. Tell me the answer. No, it's going to be 1.014 or 13. What? Oh my God, don't tell me y'all can't do that. Y'all supposed to be out of high
You said
school.
0.0 divided by 1.
0.07 divided by 4.
That's 0.0175.
Does it stop at 5 or does it keep going?
Stops at 5 on my calculator.
Okay, and to the 32nd power. Now, leave that in your calculator. Raise it to the 32nd power and multiply that by 2,700. Just blurt it out anytime you get it, people.
Answer.
I didn't hear a word. What did he say? If I heard an answer.
It's right with the same. It's the same. 4,703.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see that. 4703.98. Now, 2 things. Always carry this out to 10 digits. If your calculator carries it to 10 digits, you leave it that way and you raise it to the 32nd power. When you are in business, you always carry the decimal values out. At the World Bank, they carry decimals out to the 16th digit. The World Bank in New York, okay? There was a whippersnapper up there in New York that worked at the World Bank that decided he would take the last 5 digits off of those 16 digits. By the time they caught, he was a programmer. He was an accountant programmer. By the time they caught him, he had like $16 million in the bank in his own little savings account. He was taking, like, if you cut a penny up into 60, let's see, good gracious, that'd be like cutting a penny up into 20 pieces. He was taking one of those 20 pieces and he was putting it in his own little savings account. By the time they caught him, he had like 15 or 16 million dollars in his little piggy bank.
I need to make a movie about this guy. How'd he get caught? What is
Just audits.
Good job.
no respect?
Yeah, he went to jail.
Oh, yeah. you
No,
would.
they just slapped him on the hand and said, don't do it no more.
Wait for you.
He was just shaving off a little bit for himself. Nobody missed that 20th percent of a penny. I mean, 18th% of a penny. In ancient times they used to break the coins up, and that's how they made change. They take a chisel and cut it in pieces. Did y'all know that?
Snippet 22.
Yeah, that's real history, not made up history. That's real history. All right.
What's made up history?
I'm going to get a lot of made up history. People don't
Oppression.
like history. They erase it.
Well,
Like
change it.
pyramids.
Change
The alien pyramid.
That's a fact, man.
Moon landing.
Addison. Okay, here we go. Semi-annually. This is a test question. That last question was a test question also. I'm just going to look at this. I don't want to look at. Okay, it says you have $3,000 to invest, and you have two options. Compounded what? N is equal to 2. Compounded continuously. A is equal to PERT. Always remember PERT. There was a shampoo a long time called named PERT. You remember the Prel? I know y'all don't, but there was a Prel shampoo. It come in like an hourglass clear bottle, and it was green. Green, like that bottle. Okay? It was green. And then they said, well, we're going to put the conditioner with the Prel, and it was like a light green, okay? And they called it PERT, P-E-R-T. So that's all you got to remember, PERT. You can Google it if you don't believe me. All right, so here we go. Continuous is A is equal to PERT. P-E to the RT power. And then, of course, you've got your A is equal to principal times 1 plus R over N raised to the NT power. Crank this in. Here's your P. Here is your R. Here is your N. N is equal to 2. And then how many years? It's got to give you T. Where is T? Okay, they decided not to tell us. Okay, that's correct. The annual percentage yield. Well, they don't. Okay, the annual percentage yield. We'll get in. Why do they want to do this? You do the annual percentage yield after you do everything else. Go ahead and crank it out in these two, and we'll get to the annual percentage yield in just a second. Go ahead and crank out those numbers. And let's, I guess for 1 year, because they're not saying. Let me go down and see if they tell you in the problem if it's going to be for calculate the future values. Okay, 2 years and 5 years. This is a test question. I don't care nothing about this. We'll get to it, but this is what I want you to do. 2 years and what? 5 years. So you got to do 4 calculations. 2 years and 5 years. So I'll go back up here. We'll do the annual percentage yield. We'll do that in a minute. Okay, so for 2 years, T is equal to 2. And T is equal to 5. So that's going to be 3,000 times E to the R is 0.04675 times 2, and then 3,000 e to the 0.04675 times 5, and then this over here is going to be 3,000 times 1 plus R is going to be 0.04675 0.04725 over n is going to be 2 raised to the 2 times 2 is 4, and then 3,000 times 1 plus 0.04725 over 2 raised, and 2 times 5 is to the what? 10th. Oops. Okay, you should have 4 numbers, and those 4 numbers should match the answer down there. And while you're doing that, it's been a while since I've taught. Let's see, 103, we haven't even, I don't even think we even go into the percentage yield. So I'll pull it up right quick. Percentage yield, annual percentage yield. It's where you, I think it's new minus old over old, but I'm not sure. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you I know. What is it called? Annual what? Percentage yield?
Annual percentage yield.
I don't do good with IE. Annual percentage yield formula. New minus old over old. Okay, there it is. No, it's minus 1. Okay, let me click on this. I hate when they do this. They don't give you the formula. There it is right there. Okay, write that down. Annual percentage yield is equal to 1 plus R over N raised to the N minus 1. Let's see if I can blow that up for y'all, because I don't want to mess up my whiteboard, but let's see. Yeah, it kind of would help if they gave you the debt blame formula on the homework problem, you know?
Yeah,
The N.
that would be pretty helpful.
I'm trying to fix this where y'all can see it, but one of these days we're going to get training, maybe after the posters. Okay, 1 plus R over N raised to the N power minus 1. Now you know what R over N is. R is equal to the percent. N is equal to 2, and then minus 1, and compare the 2. But let's see how you're coming out on your other problem. Okay? Let's see how you're coming out on the numbers. So let me go back to the question. Where's the question? Did it disappear again? There it is. See if y'all's numbers came out to be the right numbers. Looks like it.
Yep.
Okay, and this one right here, that's how you got that 1 plus R over N raised to the N power minus 1. That's how you get those two numbers. I would ask you, what would I ask you on the test? I'd ask you to do the PERT, and I'd ask you to do the 1 plus R over N raised to the NT power times P. That's what I would ask you to do. Aprende?
Yep.
I'm trying to hurry. I know some of y'all are starting to have convulsions, but you're okay. Next one. All right, I want you to put this in your calculator. Go to Stat and put it in your calculator, first column, second column. I'm going to do it on the spreadsheet because I don't know. I think they're asking you to do a trend line. This is very, 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 very important. Okay? In fact, this is worth, whoever sent this question, good job. This is worth today going over it because you're going to be doing this throughout the semester. It's called finding the trend line or finding the best fit line. Now, you usually do it with scatter plots, and you usually do it and you find the best fit, but the calculators and the computers will do it for you now, so you don't have to do that because the formula for finding it is very, very tedious. Okay? So, this is a good this is a good problem. Let's go ahead and I'm going to punch it in the Excel spreadsheet, and then I'll show you how to do it with your calculator. Of course, some of y'all invented the calculator, so y'all already know how to do it, but I'm going to do it on the Excel spreadsheet. So we're going to pull up the Excel spreadsheet.
What is that?
I'm not even going to ask. Okay, and I'm just going to type them in here. 0, 0.5, 1, 1.5, and 2, and then 61, 73, 77, 73, and this is a parabolic. It looks like a parabolic. Okay? And I'm going to just go here, and I'm going to do highlight those, and then I'm going to hit insert, and then I'm just going to hit, you can do a line graph, I do chart, you can do a line, and that looks like a dang old parabola. But how do I know what it looks, how do I know what the equation looks like? You right click, let me make it bigger. Right click, or click on one of the dots, and then right click. And go to add trend line. Now, what does this look like? It looks like a parabola, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I would do polynomial. Go down to the bottom, and look at there. It's a miracle. Write that down because I'm going to forget it. Negative 16x squared plus 32x plus what? 61. Write that down. Now, what can I do with that? Well, we already know the y-intercept is 61, but what can we do on the right side? We can say, okay, what happens in 2.5 years? What happens in 5 years? Everybody with me? Now you can do a prediction based on that trend line. Now, these do match pretty close, but sometimes you might have one or two off. This is called setting the trend line or setting the line of best fit. Write that down. Line of best fit, line trend line, or setting the trend line. On standardized tests or other applications, it may be called either one of the two. Setting the trend line or finding the line of best fit. Now, you can take that and type that into your equation. You can type in 2.5, 2.2, 2.8, 5, 7, 11. You can find where, well, now you know where the set y is equal to 0 to find your x what?
Intercept.
X-intercept by using completing the square. Let's do that. Y'all knew I was going to do that. Let's find the x-intercepts. So I'm going to take my handy dandy, and then we'll go back and I'll show you how to do it on the calculator.
Wait,
So, negative 16x squared plus 32x plus blank is equal to negative 61 plus what? Blank. Factor out the negative 16, and that's going to give you x squared minus, oh my gosh, 2x. And we thought it was going to be difficult. Negative 61 plus negative 16 times what? Blank. Half of 2, do that on your calculator. 1 squared is 1. Negative 16 times x minus 1, quantity squared, is equal to negative 61. You owe somebody $61, you owe somebody $16, you owe them dang old what? $77?
Yes.
What's the vertex? Vertex is
77.
1, comma what?
77.
77. So
7.
we know down here is like this one. This is 1 right here. There it looks like the vertex is right there. Dang old, there it is. It's a miracle. All right, now take that, and we know the y-intercept. We got the y-intercept right there. And then let's solve it. negative 16, negative 16, somebody do this for me, I'm not going to do that. X minus 1, quantity squared, is equal to, what's negative 70, or it's a positive, what's 77 divided by 16?
It's not real. It's
What?
not real. Whoa, 4.81.
Not real bad. Man, don't exist. Okay, x minus 1 is equal to, square root of 5 is 2.7, so what is it, 2.6?
Yeah.
What's 4.81 square root?
Better go out there and be built.
Okay, I was off. Positive or negative 2.2, so x is equal to positive or negative 2.2 plus 1. What's 2.2 plus 1?
3.2.
So there's 3.2 right there, wherever the x is. And then over here, it's going to cross that negative, what's negative 2.2 plus 1? Negative 1.2? So it crosses at negative 1.2 and 3.2. So it was a frog jumping off a dadgum stump. Where is the frog going to land in relation to the stump? He's going to land at 3.2 feet from the stump, because the stump, he's at what? 0 feet. Okay, so if this is a frog, and I do use that on the test, dang old frog jumping off a stump.
Go frogs.
All right, now let's take it back to the handy dandy calculator. For all those on the calculator drill team. Take your dang old calculator, if I could ever get it to pull up. I'm going to have to erase all this because I'm going to hit every line there is. And pull this up. And pull this up. Okay, here we go. Dang old stat. Edit. And we're going to plug in 0 and 0.5 and 1 and 1.5 and 2. Oops. Don't use the, I shouldn't use the keyboard. I don't know why I keep using it. 2. I'm about ready to quit. 2, that's what happens when you use the keyboard. Don't use the keyboard when you're using the calculator.
Just get your bearings straight.
I have to use the mouse. That's why it's so aggravating. 61, 73, 77. Things I do for y'all. 73 and 61. And I hit calculate, stat, calculate, and then go down here. What kind do we have? A cubic or a quadratic?
Quadratic.
Good job. You had a good algebra teacher. And hit slash L1, comma, L2. And hit enter. Look at there. It's a miracle. Negative 16x squared plus 32x plus 61. And now you know how to find a trend line on the Excel spreadsheet as well as the calculator. This is a very good test question. Highlight it. So far you know 2 good test questions. Anything having to do with the quadratic and anything having to do with a what? A trend line. Make sure, if you don't know how to use your calculator, I would suggest finding out how to do it on an Excel spreadsheet. Okay?
Hubert,
Yes, ma'am.
some of these questions that are like this with the table, I was going pretty well, and then there were some that asked what would fit the graph better, like a logarithmic function or a quadratic function, and
Yeah.
I was trying to graph it like a logarithm. I wasn't sure what I was doing. So
Were you
yeah.
using the calculator or an Excel spreadsheet?
Calculator.
And it wouldn't fit it? The
logarithmic function was like-
thing about this is it's hard to see it on a calculator. Look at the quadratic. Now let's say I change this. Change it. Click. Well, okay. Let me go backwards. Undo. 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 Okay. Let me say I do this, and now I want to. Well, no, I don't want that either. I want to take the. Okay. I'm gonna go here. And let's say I just started, and this question is asking that same question. And I go, okay, let's see what it looks like. And I go to insert, and I just do the dots. Okay? Everybody with me?
Yep.
And then I say, well, let's see if it will, let's see what it looks like as far as logarithmic. What does that say? Can't do it. So what does that mean? You quit? No.
Yes.
Try something else. Well, what about a exponential? It's not doing it. Let's try it again. Add trend line. Sometimes you might lock it down. Yeah, it's not doing it. Linear? It's not going to do it. See, and that's why now, the one that you if you'll send me that question, did you send it to me?
I believe I did.
Okay, well, let's go pull it up because this one's not designed to do that. Let's go back. Let me get out of this and let's go to that question and pull it up because that is another test question that I will ask you. So let me get out of this and pull that one up. Do you know if it's...
I believe it was 1.9. There were a ton of those in 1.9.
I don't see
I might not have-
1.9.
Yeah, I could have sworn I did.
Oh,
Well, that's the one. Oh, here we go. Okay, here it is. All right, punch those in, but I'm going to do it on the Excel spreadsheet because I can actually see it better than I can on the calculator. So you go ahead and type it in, and I'm going to put it in the Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to make it small to where y'all can see it. I'm going to try to make it small.
I can't see.
Make it small and bring this in. There we go. And while y'all are typing it in, I'm going to type mine in. So 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, and 450. I'll tell you how to do it on the calculator, but it will take more steps on the calculator than it does on Excel. 2.94 to 3.36, 3.59, and 3.64, and 3.5, and 3.18. Now our question says a log or an exponential. So I'm going to give y'all a second or two to finish typing. I'm also out of vodka. I guarantee somebody's going to tell my boss drinking vodka. I won't bet me. If I was drinking this much vodka, I don't care if my dadgum, I'd be tipsy by now. Even if my liver was a pickle. Actually, that's not my preferred drink. I don't drink vodka. The last time I drank vodka, and this is no joke, it was in high school, and it wasn't a pleasant experience.
what do you like, Hubert?
I'm a bourbon drinker.
Bert.
That's about the only thing I drink. I don't drink a lot of beer. JC can verify that. You ever seen me leave with beer? I don't drink too much beer. If I do drink a beer, it'd be like water beer, like Michelob Ultra or something like that.
Like lemonade.
Yeah, and I stay away from tequila because tequila makes you do things that you regret.
That's the way that we once a day.
And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to say anything else, okay?
Just know
All right.
you speak.
So everybody got those in your calculator? All right, so I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to go over to Insert, And I'm just going to do a, there we go. Now, to me, it looks more like a parabola, okay? But it's not asking you to do that. It's asking you to check to see which is better. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say a trend line. And I'm going to say, what did it say? It gave us two options. What were they? Logarithmic.
It's true.
Or what? Exponential. Why isn't it working? Actually, this is...
Try polynomial. So will it only throw one up there that's the best one?
Yeah. Polynomial is the best.
So it
I don't
only
know,
throws
did it say polynomial or did it, let me go back. Explain why, okay, I didn't see that. Explain why the quadratic model is more appropriate. You don't have to explain. All you have to do is what? Look at it. Okay? How do you know? You know your family of what?
Graphs.
You know your family of graphs. When I first did this, what did I say? I didn't even read the directions. I said this looks more like a what? It looks like a quadratic. Now, how do you do that on a calculator? Well, you punch in the calculate and let's see what happens. So somebody give me the numbers because let me see if I can move this over so I can see the numbers. Oh, me. I'm trying, people. I'm trying. I'm going to get training one of these days. Stat.
Hey, maybe on Tuesday when you go to that conference.
Yeah, I ought to suggest it. They probably look at me and say, please leave. Okay, I'll be glad to leave.
Right.
I'm only going to go up there and walk around. After 12 o'clock, I'm leaving.
Welcome.
Stupid. 400
Very good idea.
and 450. Okay, and now we type in 2.94, 3.36, 3.59, 3.64, 3.5, and 3.18. And now I'm going to go to stat and calculate, and then I'm going to go down to quadratic and hit enter and hit second L1, comma, L2 because they did have quadratic in there, and put that, okay, write that down. Now that negative 3.75, don't you dare sit there and go, I don't know what that means. You are in a business calculus class, and if you don't know what that means, you need to keep it what? To yourself. You don't need to advertise and say, I'm stupid, I don't know what that means. Because you've been through algebra. That means you've got 4 zeros in front of that 3. Scientific notation. Write those numbers down. Because you're going to have to plug this into your calculator when you graph it. And I got to hurry up because some of y'all are going to spontaneously combust in a few minutes.
Already have.
Okay, now, second, or stat, calculate, go down to, what did it give us, a log, or a power? Did they say exponential or power? Exponential, hit enter, second, L1, comma, L2, second, L1, comma, L2.
Okay, why are you typing in L1 and L2 again?
That's your 2 columns. You got to
Okay.
tell it, the 2 columns, shift 1 and shift 2.
It does it by itself.
Well,
I
some
think it
are
automatically
defaulted.
does.
Yes, some are defaulted to do that. I do it just because I want to make sure I get it right. Okay? Now, write that down. Because what are you going to have to do after you check all these? You're going to have to do a plot and then put y is equal, and you're going to have to put all 3 of these equations in and see what it looks like. Does everybody understand?
Yes.
You're going to have to re-input these and graph them to see which one matches with the dots. Okay, what do I mean, Hubert? Well, go to stat, and you can go to plot, or right up here, second, stat plot. Okay, let me get out of this. And then do the exponent, the natural log, stat, turn that one on. I'm trying to show you as quick as I can. Do the dots and hit graph. And they're not going to show you, but now I'm going to type in y is equal. Somebody give me that 0.00 what?
37.
37 to the what? X to the what? Second power plus what?
0.02.
Is it plus?
Yes, sir.
0.02.
And then this one asks you to round it to like the 6th decimal place.
Just give me the numbers that were given on here. I'm not worried about that. 0.02 what? X?
0.025.
X plus what? Or minus?
Minus 0.58.
0.58. And then you'll have to graph that. Okay, you gave me something or it's not right, or it's, I can't do a stat, do a zoom, and then I'm going to run out of time here, and some of y'all are going to explode. So we'll just have to say there's the stat plot. And when you graph the blah, 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 it should go through those points. And then you'll graph the logarithm, and you'll graph it there, and then you'll graph the exponential, and then you'll pick the what? The best one.
Yeah.
Where on Excel will basically tell you if it's a good fit or not. You see what I'm saying? So in this case, Excel is the tool to use. All right, we'll go over some more when y'all come back Thursday. Keep working. Y'all should have at least another 2 or 3 sections done by Thursday. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you.
You got questions for